What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk 2, the rematch. The long-awaited rematch is here. And we have to set the stage before we break this one down a little bit. Oleksandr Usyk, for a good amount of time, went back home to help defend his country. We know by now all of the things that the Ukraine has been facing right now as a country defending their country against Russia. And he went back to help fight and to help defend his country. It's a very admirable act. I give him massive credit because he doesn't have to do any of that. But the love for his country is admirable, it's respectable, it's honorable in so many different ways. I saw recently as well, too, where he wanted to make this fight free for everybody back home. He was trying to buy the station rights, and Saudi Arabia said, no, man, like, it's all good. We are going to take care of it for you. So I thought that was a great gesture from Saudi Arabia as well, too. And I wanted to mention all of that because it's important. Oleksandr Usyk isn't just fighting for himself. He isn't just fighting for his legacy. He's fighting for his country. His country needs hope. His country needs a light. And whether he says it or not, that's in the back of his head. We've seen what can happen when an athlete is doing something bigger, not just for themselves, but for other things attached to it as well in sports. If we're talking about boxing, remember when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson because Buster Douglas's mom passed away and he said, Mom, I'm doing this for you. When you are fighting for something bigger than yourself, it just adds something extra inside of you internally. And that's what I think Oleksandr Usyk is fighting for in this fight. Can it be a lot of pressure? Absolutely. But Usyk doesn't seem to be a guy who falls under the pressure. I think he likes it. He rises to the occasion. And I don't think this time will be any different. Now, on the other side, Anthony Joshua went and brought in a new trainer, someone he believes can help him get the job done. He brought in Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia, if you've never heard of him before, he's had a numerous amount of world champions and has a long list of boxers that would take a while for me to name all of them, but he's a well-known trainer inside the sport of boxing, as many of you know. So Anthony Joshua knew he needed something different. He knew he needed to make a change, and he's done that. And from the training videos that I've seen, he looks good. He looks a little bit quicker in his movements than he did the last time. Now that we established a base, let's get into the breakdown. In the last fight, for the first half of the fight, the commentators were a little bit one-sided for me, except for Roy Jones, one-sided towards Joshua. And I'm thinking to myself, like, the first 5 rounds, Usyk was up comfortable to me, right? But that's my opinion. I just thought it was very one-sided. But let's talk about Usyk first. I watched the fight again recently, and I do not know what type of conditioning training Usyk does, but that was a massive component as to how he won that fight. He was constantly moving around the ring, whether he was shuffling laterally, stepping, pivoting. He rarely stayed still. And out of the movement, he was throwing shots from weird angles. He would step right and throw a right hand from that angle, and it caught Joshua often. The number of feints that he used to get his shots and to find openings, I don't think Anthony Joshua is used to a southpaw using that much feints. He didn't have an answer for it. And once Usyk got comfortable, he used the 1-2 combination and landed clean flush shots straight down the middle and landed on Anthony Joshua's chin. In the 3rd round, he had him hurt, right? In the 12th round, he almost closed out the show, right? But for the full 12 rounds, Usyk's body language and mannerisms were consistent. He knew if he stayed stagnant and took a round off and wasn't locked in, Anthony Joshua has that type of power where he could close out the show. All it takes in boxing, especially with someone who's a puncher, is just one shot. And going back to the beginning when I said he had him hurt in the 12th round, if Usyk started his attack a little bit sooner, I think he would have KO'd Anthony Joshua, in my opinion. But in the videos that I've seen recently of Oleksandr Usyk, he looks bigger, but he still looks as fluid with the head and body movement as before. So it'll be interesting to see how he looks on fight day. Now let's talk about Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is a specimen. He's big, he's strong, he's quick, he's cut, and you would expect a heavyweight of his stature to impose their size and their frame. And so that's what I didn't understand. in their fight. Now, there were a lot of people saying in this fight, man, Anthony Joshua, he's just a puncher. He can't box. He can't outbox anybody. All he has is the right hand. He's just not that good. And, you know, when you hear something enough time, right, like that stuff starts to creep into your head. And that's what I thought happened this fight, because he tried to outbox Usyk, tried to beat him at his own game, tried to outclass the smaller man, showing his boxing skills, and he seemed to be locked into doing that and didn't want to step away from that game plan. Now, in the fight, he made some slight adjustments and decided to use his will in the 5th and the 6th round, decided to use his size and walk Usyk down, and he was having success when he was doing that. But he only did that for a few rounds and then went right back to how he entered the fight. In this fight, I hope he got that mess out of his head and left it behind him. He doesn't need to go in there and be this pretty boxer. He needs to go in there, fight smart, don't overextend himself, don't force the knockout, but go in there and impose his frame, impose his size, cut off the ring, slip in, hit the body and slip out and regroup. He caught Usyk good to the body a bunch of times in that fight. And I think he needs to go to the body early in this fight. You can't headhunt against someone who is constantly moving and always slipping in and slipping out and using different types of movements to get out of the way. But if you chop the body down, it'll slow down the movement. Anthony Joshua lost the fight, yes. But when he did land on Usyk, Usyk felt those shots. In some of the recent videos I saw of Anthony Joshua training, I saw him working on a few things, and body shots were one of those things. So hopefully he doesn't forget that in the fight. This is going to be an exciting fight, a much anticipated fight. You know, anytime these two get inside the ring, whether they're fighting each other or fighting other people, it's always an exciting fight. History shows that the person who won the first fight doesn't always win the second fight. So it's a tough one to say. AJ usually comes back stronger after a loss. So in this one, in the rematch, I'm going with Oleksandr Usyk. I just think with the added focus of all that's been happening and all that he's fighting for and the purpose behind the fight, he'll be even more locked in than he was before. He knows he can go 12 rounds with energy. AJ tends to fade going into the championship rounds. I don't think that will change this time around. I also think he can knock out AJ and he can outbox AJ. Right? AJ's chance of winning to me is by KO. I don't think he can outbox Oleksandr Usyk. But at the same time, AJ has that eraser in his hands where all that I'm saying really doesn't matter if he lands a clean shot. All it takes is the right shot in boxing, especially with a puncher in the heavyweight division, like an Anthony Joshua, that could close out the show at any given moment. But at the same time, Oleksandr Usyk knows that. He respects Joshua. He knows the danger that he possesses. And I think he'll be cautious, but I think he'll be aggressive at the same time. I have Oleksandr winning this fight by KO. I think he wants to close out the show. I'm not counting out AJ either. I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes to decision as well, too, as it did the first time. But I would not be surprised if this fight ends by KO. I'm looking forward to this fight. It's going to be a very good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing how it unfolds. Who do you have winning this one and how? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support the channel by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly appreciated. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, and do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.